Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot, and welcome to your general readings for the sign in the title below, because it's a bulk introduction, for the supermoon, full moon in Scorpio on the 26th or 27th of month we're in, April, for wherever you are in the world. Here in Britain it's on the 27th, in America it's mainly on the 26th. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the astrology of this because I'll be live streaming 6 p.m. UK time, so 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on YouTube with astrologer David Fisher. We'll go through the astrology then. As ever, general reading rules apply. Timing is not absolute. This is an interesting full moon. I think I tend to look at these readings as looking over the lunar cycle or half lunar cycle, if you know what I mean, from full moon to full moon, rather than new to new. So we'll see how long that they last. You should hopefully pick up the energies from them. If someone else appears in the readings, roles can get reversed. Doesn't very often happen in the spread that I'm using. But as I say, timing is far from absolute is the main point here. So, as ever, I would like you to hit that like button if you like the reading, or if you like the video even. No, the reading might not be so hot. And feel free to subscribe to the channel while you're here, because it really does help. I think that's it for my housekeeping. The reason I do a bulk introduction with a timestamp in the description below, so that you can fast forward to the reading, don't do it yet, is I would like to watch your sun, your moon and your rising. And you don't need to listen to me waffle 3 times over. You know what I mean? So there is a timestamp below if you're wanting to fast forward if this is your second or third time round. And there is a link to the Facebook page for this channel, where I post these videos, obviously, because I do not trust YouTube notifications. But I also post the weather report style astrology YouTube videos that I watch, so you can learn along with me, and I try to make it a bit of a one-stop shop. So anyway, I think that's everything. Oh yeah, if you don't know your moon or your rising sign, there's a link down there for there's 2 links: free birth charts, AstroSeek or Cafe Astrology. I'm now tending more towards using the AstroSeek, just because I know what I'm doing a little bit more, and there's so much you can get the chart to be presented the way you want it to be. So this full moon, it's an interesting one. It's ruled by the angel Jeliel. 7 degrees Scorpio is ruled by the angel Jeliel, who represents recapturing the spark and love and wisdom. Now, that recapturing the spark could mean the passion for a project, a field of research, or a person, you know. So there is that whole romantic element to it. There is a lot of, if you look into the positions of the planets and the degrees that they're holding and the degree symbols and what have you, there is a lot of sexual energy in this full moon, which figures with us just coming off the back of that Venus-Uranus conjunction, although again, that's about more than just relationships and sex lives. But what I've also found is interesting is the relationship to other new moons. Being in Scorpio, it represents transformation. Now, the moon, if my notes are correct, is in its fall in Scorpio anyway. But it's also, being in Scorpio, traditionally ruled by Mars. And Mars is just gone into Cancer. So the moon and Mars are in mutual reception. They're amping each other up. So I think there's any transformations that are begun more under or that are ongoing, I think it would be an even better way to put it, will have that little bit extra oomph. Now, Scorpio under modern rulership is ruled by Pluto. As we know, Pluto's still in Capricorn. But 7 degrees Scorpio is the site of the Pluto of harmonic convergence, which, if you know your hippie woo-woo, then that was a big event in the late, oh, I didn't write the date down, 87, 88, where there was this opening of all new energies coming onto the planet. So I think it's quite significant where this full moon is potentially giving us a chance to actually use those energies now. We've had plenty enough time since the 80s, late 80s, to assimilate to them. It's about time we use them. And also, the other thing I noticed is that it's on Aleister Crowley's Jupiter. Now, there was something else that was like really hocus pocusy with this full moon. I didn't write it down. I've forgotten what it was. But I would imagine this full moon would be great for full moon rituals. However, watch every single astrology forecast video I've posted on that YouTube page first. Do your research. Make sure that what you would be magically working towards, creatively visualizing, sat with a candle, what have you, is in line with the astrological energies that are there. Because I noticed the closer we get to the full moon, the astrologers' descriptions of this full moon are getting nicer and nicer. And there are some beautiful aspects to it. But there are also some quite traumatic aspects as well. So be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. I think it's the, sometimes the genie is best left in the bottle. That's something that I think you really need to pay some attention to. Myself, I'm not planning any hocus pocus for the full moon this time. I'm just going to sit and let, I suppose the phrase would be trust the process. Allow the transformation energies to unfurl. Because for me, I was alive during harmonic convergence. So for me, this is really, really important. And it being on Aleister Crowley's Jupiter makes me think that magic at this time has a high chance of getting bigger. But it's Crowley, it's double-edged. Do you know what I mean? So you be very, very careful what you ask for. Now, I've also been reading a lot about Franz Baden and the entities he calls the degree heads, who are entities that inhabit each individual degree of the zodiac and can be evoked just like any spiritual entity or magical entity can be evoked, if you know about your evocation. Now, this one is, let me pronounce it correctly, Amelie. Now, Amelie, here's the description, protects man against all infectious diseases and causes him to look after himself so that he is at any time able to resist infection. If karmic reasons make it necessary, or if it lies in one's fate, this head, i.e. the entity Amelie, will not prevent an infection. Amelie teaches the magician many means of protection against the most diverse types of infectious diseases from the magical point of view. Since there exists also the possibility of mental or astral influences, Amelie also instructs the magician in this respect. He teaches him how to protect himself after having been made acquainted with special magical practices against negative astral influences and against influences of negative beings. So if you are going to try any hocus pocus with this full moon, talking to Amelie may not be a bad idea, given the situation of the world at the moment. Negative astral influences? Well, let's use the by now tiresome term of fake news. We've already seen what damage fake news can do. And infectious diseases. I wonder what's going on in the world that could relate to that. But apparently I can't say such things on YouTube. So I won't mention even the V word, never mind, the C word. Not that it makes the slightest bit of difference to me anyway, because is I am not yet monetized. But, you know, I'd like people to see the readings that follow this. Now, that is pretty much all that I'm wanting to talk about with the new moon, full moon. Apart from new moon, yes. Now, Scorpio transformation. And there was an aspect between the recent, the last new moon, the Aries new moon, and Pluto, which was instigating transformation energies. You know what I was saying about the transformation with the harmonic convergence Pluto? There's that sense of revealing, unveiling, that deeper secrets, deeper truths, deeper realities, stripping things away. Scorpio is also the sign of death and transformation. It is the death card in the tarot. So, as I say, the death card in the tarot is not scary because if you get a job, it's the death of poverty. If you get a relationship, it's a death of loneliness. You know, so death is not necessarily bad, but you're watching a tarot reading anyway. So, apart from I'm not using tarot this, well, I am a bit. So you know this already. But there was transformation that was triggered by that Aries new moon. Not even triggered as in the seed was sown, but triggered as in, right, here is the energy to start it. Here, we seem to be clearing all the crap out that we found that's in the way of this transformation. It's like deciding to redecorate your kitchen and then you open a cupboard and find that you hadn't emptied it after all, and you need to empty this cupboard before you can do the next bit of work. So this full moon promises to be really, really useful and dramatic. Like I say, we're just coming off that Venus-Uranus conjunction, so I think that may be adding a little bit of spice into our lives one way or another. So, with no further ado, I don't think I've got anything more to add, and I'm trying to cut down these intros since we're doing the live streams. Yeah, the live stream may be shorter. I've said that already, haven't I? So, like, share, subscribe, and I'll bring up your cards. So, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, whichever. As you may know if you've watched these readings before, this top row represents the masks worn by the Archons as they try to suppress you, repress you, keep you vibrating in fear and misery and need and want, and separate you from the divine or your destiny. Whereas this bottom row represents the God forces that are trying to lift you up and reconnect you with the with the divine even, or both. I'm stumbling over my teeth today already. So, what we have working against you: Anubis with protection, Kronos with cycles, Sirens with temptation, Inanna with seduction, and Hestia with inner fire. Now, it seems like a bit of a relationship reading, to be honest, although I think that in and of itself is a metaphor. It almost seems like there is a chance to play away from home, you know, with Sirens with temptation or Inanna with seduction, especially since the choice that the cards first issue are Anubis, protection, in the face of being lifted up by Eros, love, and Mithras, sacrifice. So, there, and this maybe takes it out of the relationship field, there is an opportunity to either take an action which involves a sacrifice for yourself, but is going to benefit someone or something that you love, and you are being advised somehow, don't do it, protect yourself. So that's, and also the fact of Anubis being a god of the dead makes me think that protecting yourself involves creating an end. And there's another way to create that end being offered to you, almost like if it is a relationship reading, there's some young thing, male or female, whatever your preference, fluttering their eyelids at you. But that is going to open a can of worms. That is definitely going to open a can of worms. Now, if you put that into a job context, assuming that you like your job and you get on with your job, then maybe there is some form of work sacrifice that is being called of you, and somewhere else is more money, but you like where you are. Thank you very much. So, okay, I will make that sacrifice as long as it is repaid. And here it is repaid, because it seems really important on the bottom row, especially with animetia, with integrity, and the water nymphs representing feelings, that whatever choice of action you take, you feel good about the choice of action that you take. Now, we're all told that part of growing up is sometimes doing those things that we don't want to do. In fact, I've done readings saying you might not want to do this, but you should do it because it's better for the end. This is the complete opposite. This is make that sacrifice for love, whatever that means, because that creates a new beginning. We have Eos with new beginnings, goddess of the dawn, and then Gaia with creation. So there's something that you have the opportunity to build by making that sacrifice. And this is, I knew that this was the card that I wanted, but Diti fell down face up. You'll see in the shuffle video earlier. So it's like, okay, you're coming out then. And Amisha was face down like that. Taking this other offer, whatever it may be, as I said, opens a can of worms, because whatever this top row says from the Archons, the top road is a trap. Always. Because they're trying to keep you vibrating in fear and misery and blah, blah, blah. So all of this is a trap. All of the, you have to end this because it's the same as before, or you have to end this because the same thing is happening again, which is stuff that you are being told, is, well, to be honest, it's utter BS. But this other offer that's going, oh, well, if you're finishing that, why don't you come this way? Again, that will come back on you, and also you are splitting your resources. That's it. You are splitting your resources by doing that. So you have to keep an integrity with what you feels right. Let's see what. Yeah, because whatever this is, there's a lot of anxiety about, there's a huge amount of anxiety that's saying, end it, end it, end it, end it. And someone else is offering you the world here, fast. But bear in mind, something that's promising to happen that fast. One thing they say about the recent Venus-Uranus conjunction is anything that starts then will only last a few days. They're not going to be here for long. So whether that's on a love relationship level, or whether it's something that's more, well, still Venusian, to do with resources, to do with jobs, or to do with something that you love, don't necessarily be prepared to make the sacrifice, because you are harnessing two energies that are not quite pulling in different directions, but there's a sacrifice that you have to make to remain on your intended course. You will be supported by this. You will actually be transformed by this in the long term, but in the short term, it's probably not so hot. But you've got to feel good about the choice that you make. And we finish here with the Uber card of the Tarot Apocalypsis, which is the All Gifted, which is like all the best of all the major arcana all rolled into one. So that is telling me that your feelings here, I think another reading earlier, I was saying your feelings aren't necessarily a judge. Your feelings can be deceiving you. But for you, follow your feelings, as in not the anxiety, but not how you feel right now, but how you know you are going to feel after having done a certain thing. So if you make the sacrifice, afterwards you are likely to feel good about it. If you call things to a close, afterwards you are likely to feel bad about it. So yeah, whatever that sacrifice is, make it. That's blunt, to be honest, isn't it? Oh dear, 7 minutes. So there's not a lot else I can see here. Nifhaya, spiritual wisdom. This is a second or third reading Nifhaya has popped out on with these full moon readings. And I think you can take spiritual wisdom here as meaning listening to those feelings, doing what you know is right long term. Because that anxiety will try to tell you that pulling things to an end right now is right, but that's only right short term. It's like closing the door to shut the noise away. You open that door again, the noise is still there. And that's what DT promises. You know, there is an element of, we're still here, you know. Whereas making that sacrifice seems to open up a really positive path for you. And the other thing is, as you probably saw in the shuffle video, 2 cards dropped out of the Oracle in the Heaven and Hell, and this one didn't make sense to me to start off with, but it's EIL with transformation. So making that sacrifice is paying the price for that transformation in advance. It's basically that sacrifice is money in the bank on a spiritual level. Okay, so if this means anything to you, Sagittarius, please do comment down below. With that Facebook link, there's an inbox as well there if you want to contact me for a personal reading, because you might want to with all this stuff going on. But then again, I also trust you to make your own decisions. Follow your feelings as you're doing it. So hit that like button. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel, and thank you for all those who have already. And I'll be live streaming 6 p.m. UK time on Saturday in anticipation of the full moon with astrologer David Fisher. Although I'm having some work done on my mouth this afternoon, and I don't know whether I'll be able to talk then or not. But if not, David will take care of it. Okay, Sagittarius, good luck. Follow your feelings. See you later.